and very good, and it's a very good point taken by the Myanmar. Myanmar 5, Vietnam 3. In the first set, Myanmar 15-11 won the match. The second set is going on. Myanmar 5. Myanmar to serve. It's a quad event in court number 2 between Myanmar and Vietnam. Very good attempt, and again, point goes to Myanmar. Myanmar 9, Vietnam 3. Very good. In the replay, we have seen very good attempt, but point goes to Myanmar. Myanmar is 9. Vietnam is still on point 3. वियतनाम और म्यांमार के बीच चलता हुआ ये मैच क्वाड इवेंट का कोर्ट नंबर 2 पे, जहां पर म्यांमार ने 9 पॉइंट अर्जित किया है, जबकि वियतनाम 3 पॉइंट पे अटकी हुई। इस तरह से टाइम आउट लिया गया है। म्यांमार ने पहला सेट 15-11 से जीता। अब इस वक्त 9-3 की बढ़त बनाए हुए वियतनाम के विरुद्ध। Myanmar leading by 9 points to 3 in the second set. Myanmar to serve. Vietnam now going to serve, and ball within the side the court, and Myanmar gets 1 point more. Myanmar 10, Vietnam 3. Myanmar to serve. Myanmar is leading by 10 points to 3 against Vietnam. Good service, but goes outside the court, and Vietnam gets 1 point. Vietnam to serve. Very good attempt by Myanmar. Gets another point, which is to 11 points against Vietnam. Vietnam is still in point 4.
It's match number 3 at the men quadrant event at the ISTF Istaf World Cup 2025 in Bihar. It's Indonesia versus Japan. The first game was.
Oh, very good attempt, and very good smash by the Vietnamese player. Reaches to 5 points against Myanmar. Myanmar still leading by 11 points to 5. Myanmar 11, Vietnam 4. Vietnam to serve. Very good. Nice point by the Myanmar. Reaches to 12 points, 3 points away from the second set. The second court number 2 in the quad event men, Myanmar playing against Vietnam. Myanmar to serve now, 12.5. Myanmar gets the point, reaches to 6 points. Vietnam to serve, 6 point against Myanmar to 12. Very good service, very good attempt, equally written, and very good point to Myanmar. Myanmar reaches to 13 point, 2 points away from the second set.
First game between Thailand and Singapore was won by Thailand. The second match is in progress on the second court. It's between Vietnam and Myanmar.
म्यांमार 13 पॉइंट पर, जबकि वियतनाम ने 6 पॉइंट बनाए हैं और वियतनाम का इस वक्त बहुत ही खूबसूरती से इस पॉइंट को अर्जित किया, क्योंकि म्यांमार का खिलाड़ी नेट पर बॉल को दे मारा और इस प्रकार से 7 पॉइंट वियतनाम को, 7वां पॉइंट म्यांमार 13, वियतनाम 7, वियतनाम टू सर्व। अच्छी सर्विस वहां पर और बहुत अच्छी तरीके से इस गेम को खेल रहे हैं म्यांमार के खिलाड़ी। 14 पॉइंट पर पहुंच गए हैं, सिर्फ 1 पॉइंट और बनानी है दूसरा सेट जीतने के लिए। 14-7 सर्विस वहां पर और इस प्रकार से बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से खेला इस गेम को और म्यांमार ने ये मैच 15-7 से जीत लिया है, जबकि 15-11 से पहला सेट जीता था, 15-7 से दूसरा सेट जीता। इस प्रकार से ये मैच समाप्त हुआ कोर्ट नंबर 2 पे। प्लेयर्स हैंडशेक के लिए जाते हुए वियतनाम और म्यांमार के बीच बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से खेला इस सेट को म्यांमार के खिलाड़ियों ने। वियतनाम के विरुद्ध 2 सेट की बढ़त लेते हुए इस मैच को जीता। Istaf Spectacular World Cup 2025 इन बिहार, पाटलिपुत्र स्टेडियम। बहुत ही बेहतरीन अरेंजमेंट्स यहाँ किया गया है। सारे ऑफिशियल, सारे रेफरीज बहुत अच्छे तरीके से इस मैच को कंडक्ट करते हुए।
Well, unfortunately, Indonesia aren't here, and it is a walkover for Japan. They begin their campaign here in the men's quadrant event at the ISPF Second Draw World Cup 2025 with a victory. What do the playing conditions say? Does that count as 2-0 or 3-0 in the table? So Japan will walk off, having won a walkover against Indonesia. Just as Japan have won the walkover against Indonesia, here's a reminder of all the rules for all our viewers joining us from all across the globe. The quadrant event here. These are the rules. The teams are divided into 2 groups, of course. Each will be playing a round robin format in the tournament. And out of both the groups, the 2 teams at the top will head into the semi-final.
कोर्ट नंबर 2 पर मैच कमिंग अप नेक्स्ट Match number 4, main quadrant event. France will meet Malaysia.
Just letting everyone know once again that Indonesia versus Japan, the third match of the main quadrant event at the World Cup 2025 in Bihar. Japan has won the walkover.
In court number 2, match coming up next. It's match number 4, main quadrant event. France will meet Malaysia. Very soon the team will enter to the court. आने वाला मैच चौथा मैच मेन क्वार्टर इवेंट का कोर्ट नंबर 2 पे फ्रांस और मलेशिया के बीच.
Had you warming the cigarettes already? I was told I was starting at 2 o'clock. Then he said, come in at 9. I don't know what I'm doing. No idea. Please have a seat. I told you nothing. अच्छा ठीक है आप बैठिए
Welcome to Istaf World Cup Bihar 2025. For match number 2 on court number 2, we are having men's quad events, for which let us welcome Team France.
Are you commentating? No, are you commentating? Yes. Okay. What language?
team manager, Patrick Lehman, coach, Zolfik Ayub, and assistant coach, Nufarsha Mazid. Representing Malaysia, we have Aidil Amin bin Azwani, jersey number 17, Muhammad Fitri bin Muhammad Azwai, jersey number 7, Muhammad Norizet bin Muhammad Nordin, jersey number 3, leading the team, the captain, jersey number 8, Amirul Zazwan bin Amir, along with Muhammad Shahararil Ahmed bin Halim, jersey number 22, and Norfazul bin Abdul Razak, jersey number 9. The team manager, Ahmad Jais bin Baharun. The coach, Muhammad Zulkairin bin Muhammad Arif. The officials for this match, P. Manjunath, the official referee from India. Surya Bahadur, the referee from Singapore. Arundhati De, the coach referee from India. Kin Muangkai, the assistant referee, Myanmar. Tuan Sazmik Mohammed, line referee from Sri Lanka, and Ruchit Makwana, the line referee from India.
Things are quite unorganized right now.
Officials, players, please shake hands.
You go here for the TV for 2 o'clock. You want to settle few things.
Yeah.
Just you can do one commentary for this match.
Okay.
And then I'll come back and you'll see.
Okay, that's fine. The sir's also here. He was doing for
Yeah. So he can take a break.
Okay.
Sir, आप break
तो ये वाले मैच में so from there on. But वो हिंदी करना इंग्लिश करना.
What was your name again?
Nishad.
Nishad. Oh, right, you're Nishad. Oh, geez, hi. Yeah.
Wait, where's the other mic? The mic नहीं है. Oh, इसमें ही है. Oh, okay, good. Because there was the
One lift here.
वहाँ लिख दिया. Yeah. Okay. Yes, perfect. And lazy and all works same, right?
Simple. Streaming.
हाँ.
Simple.
Okay.
Playlists. List of players. No.
Is there some WhatsApp group like we can be a part of it?
You are part.
Expecting it to be chaotic, but not quite this chaotic.
So I'm sorry, where are you from?
I'm British, but I live in Australia.
Yeah, that's what I figured because I heard you're from Australia, but you don't have the accent.
Yeah, no.
I've just spent like 2 weeks with Brad Hawk, so
Yeah.
I spent a better part of the last few years with Aussies, so I'm like, nah, I can't be Aussie.
Doesn't sound like it, yeah.
Are we good to go here in the second one? I've got Drew with me here in the commentary box. Thailand started brilliantly in the first game. Just got past Singapore. Malaysia are the favourites here, aren't they?
They certainly are. France coming here, not to make up the numbers, but they're obviously going to be the outsiders, particularly in the quadrant events. They've got a big squad with them, so it's basically the 4 players that they brought with them who are here in action. Quadrants, obviously a different type of event. Still only allowed the 3 touches to get over the net. It's a first point for France there. They're going to be delighted with that. But 4 players as opposed to 3. And instead of having a feeder who throws the ball up to the Tekong to serve, it's the Tekong who goes back behind the baseline here, as you can see. And then his 3 teammates set up at the net. And then the opposition have got 3 touches in which to get the ball back. Save, set, and a beautiful roll spike there at the net.
Wonderfully done, and that's the kind of challenge that France are up against, aren't they? Because Malaysia, obviously they've got the history, they've got the tradition of the sport, and France just trying to grow in this game. And as you said, they've just got the 4 players, so a small squad, not a lot to play with, and that can be challenging.
It will be challenging if they get an injury. That's the main thing. So, well, that's another point on the board there for them, because service, you don't get a second service, not like tennis. So you don't get a second service in this game. So if the service goes into the net, then that means it's a point to the opposition. You serve in groups of 3. So this is the 3rd service here for the French. I think it was one of the French players touched the net there. So the point should be going the way of Malaysia. It does indeed. So groups of 3 in the service, as is the case with doubles and regu.
Well, he tried to head that one, but couldn't quite control it, and it goes out into the free zone, bounces across, and there's a point for Malaysia. Tell our viewers a little bit more about this wall that is formed. A little bit to maybe not distract, but maybe block the vision of the opposition.
That's exactly what it is, Nishad. So they're getting in front of as we see the ball go long there on the service. So as we were saying earlier, you don't get a second bite of the cherry in sepak takraw. So the point is given away, but it is to try to block the service, the vision of the service. So you can't see exactly where the ball is going, whether it's going to be short or deep, as this one is saved with a head set, and not the best set at all, unfortunately. You want to be setting the ball up above the net. The net is 1.55 meters in the men's game, 1.45 meters in the women's, and much along the lines of volleyball, which is a sport it's similar to. You want to be setting the ball up above the net, probably around 1.80 meters, so that your killers or spikers at the net can spike it, either rolling over a roll spike or then flicking it right foot over the right shoulder or left foot over the left shoulder for what's called a sunback spike.
That's a good one. A very good one by Malaysia. And now you can see that Malaysia moved to 7-3. Initially, there was a bit of promise from the French, but now Malaysia just showing the difference in class, maybe.
That's right. You can always get a few points early on, particularly when the server, the Tekong, maybe hasn't got their rhythm. You can pick up a few points, and that's how we've seen France get 2 of their 3 points. It's been on, well, there's another one. That was perfect. Usually it's the commentator's curse. It works the other way around, but this one was actually an illustration of the point. That's the way you can pick up points if the opposition Tekong isn't really on rhythm. And they're changing, it's not in groups of 3, but they're changing whenever a team loses a point, then they lose the right to serve. But there was a perfect example of a roll spike, the killer at the net rolling over and getting a good downward trajectory. You want to be hitting the ball at about a 45-degree angle so that it comes over the net and dies on the other side. And that was perfectly done there by the Malaysian killer.
Absolutely. And that's what we also saw in the first game between Thailand and Singapore, where Singapore started very well. In fact, they were near level up to around 7 or 8 points. And once Thailand got into the flow of things, there's another good finish by Malaysia, just marching forward with their lead. So as I was saying, once Thailand won the initiative, they won the first game 15-9 and the second one 15-4.
It's tough for the outsiders. You really need to get as many points on the board as you can, because once the good teams, the favourites, the likes of Thailand, Malaysia, of course the hosts, India, once they get into a rhythm, they really will run away with it. And once you're in a rhythm on service like this one, you keep the service on your foot, as it were. You keep the right to serve. You can, of course, score points when you are receiving as well. It's not one of those sports where you can only score on service, but that one's an ace. Goes all the way through there.
Well, earlier you said that France have got quite a few points thanks to a few faults by Malaysia, and then immediately a fault occurred. And here you said that you don't win too many on aces, and here we go, there was one.
We'll see more aces particularly in doubles. You'll see the odd one in regu, but what we're seeing at the moment is perfect saving, setting, and spiking. So once the ball comes back over the net to the Malaysians, they're able to get their foot underneath the ball, the takraw, and then set it up nicely around that 1.80 meter height and put it away absolutely perfectly. A timeout being taken by the French, so they can have a quick word with their coach. You've got the grey-haired Jeremy Voradi, number 7. He's been around for a good decade and a half, and you do quite often see that with the European teams. It's a very small takraw community in places like France, Germany, Switzerland. There's a real hotbed around, obviously, France, Germany, and Switzerland, all bordering countries, and around the Basel area in Switzerland, and then to the east of France, and then the west of Germany. They're all quite close together. There are other teams in France. There's one down in Toulouse, down in the southwest of the country, but there tends to be a hotbed around the Basel area, very much Central Europe, and that's good for them because they can play one another. So around the Alsace area, so you get Germany playing France, playing Switzerland, and they all get a good standard of takraw that they can play amongst one another. The only problem is they tend to play one another all the time, so they get used to one another, and then all of a sudden they find themselves up against arguably the best country in the world, Malaysia, and that's when it all gets a little bit different. But they'll be absolutely delighted to be here in Bihar, in the east of India, for this 5th ever Sepak Takraw World Cup.
Well, he puts that out. The last couple of points have gone France's way. And you can also see the difference, right? Because you look at someone like a Malaysia, and in whatever I've seen in this game, they seem to have a lot more flexibility, agility around the court, and of course it comes with a lot more tradition and practice. And as you said, France, since they are only playing a couple of countries more regularly, aren't exposed to this level of play as often.
That's right as well, and it's the kind of thing that you either grow up with or you don't. So if you're from Southeast Asia, then you grow up kicking around a takraw or something that looks like a takraw or something that's made like a takraw, whereas if you're in India, you tend to knock an impromptu cricket ball around with your own made-up ball and your made-up bat. And then in a lot of other more Western countries, particularly France, then it's a soccer ball that you're kicking left, right, and centre. And it's different skills, different builds and morphologies of players as well. And it's 1st to 15, best of 3 sets in this format. So that means that Malaysia, while we've been chatting away, have managed to rack up 8 set points.
Yes, you spoke about cricket. In fact, the first time I saw sepak takraw, apart from the television screen, I'll come back to that.
Save a set, but it goes under the net, and that is 15-6. And it's the first set in the books for the favourites, the team in yellow.
Yes, Malaysia off to a fantastic start. Just like Thailand, their neighbors, who are also one of the contenders here at the ISTA Sepak Takraw World Cup 2025 in Bihar. So as I was saying, apart from watching the game on television during the Asian Games or any of the other tournaments, it was actually that I saw the South African cricket team play this in practice at the 2015 World Cup. This was in Melbourne, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and I walk in and I see they're kicking around a ball with a net in the middle. Of course, it wasn't that high because you don't want your fast bowlers getting injured. But yes, that was the first time I saw Sepak Takraw, and they didn't know what it was called, but they were just playing that for fun. And research more on it, watch some of it online. But yes, it's a fascinating sport.
It is, yes, and saying that it depends on where you're from, whether you actually play it or not, but everyone seems to play a version of it. There's hacky sack, or footbag as it's officially known in the United States, and a number of the US players whom we're going to see over here taking part in this competition, they graduated, they moved across, or they play both sports. They play footbag as well. You don't have to give up one sport to play another. You can certainly play more than one sport, and that's very much what we encourage. We know that not everybody around the world particularly wants to concentrate solely on sepak takraw, so it's always good to borrow players from other sports and be happy to give them back. We're not trying to convert people and say you can only play sepak takraw. It's a game that you can play if you've played other sports as well. So there's footbag, keepy up, hacky sack in the United States, and then keepy uppy, you'll see a lot of soccer players, football players who will do that as well. It's a slightly different ball, different shoes as well. If you look at the shoes that the players are wearing there, very flat soles, canvas shoes. There's very little on the shoes. A lot of them don't have laces in the shoes as well, because you don't want the ball going off at a strange angle after it's hit the laces. And we've had a couple of minutes change of ends at the end of the first set. It's going to be France to get us underway once again.
Yes, the captain of France will begin proceedings here in the second game. France, of course, have got a mountain to climb against one of those traditional sepak takraw power centers in the world. And Malaysia, they've started off again. They mean business here at the World Cup 2025. Just talking about the shoes. The shoes too are designed in a way so that whenever the spikes or the roll spikes are in progress, you can land a lot better, right?
There's that as well. You need to, it's all very good flying through the air. You need to be able to land almost like a cat. You say a cat always lands on their feet, and sepak takraw players have to do the same, fly through the air, and you're going to land on your hands, on your wrists, and also on the feet as well. So you need to be able to be very lithe. There's not a lot of padding in the shoes. There's not a lot of cushioning when you do land, as we're going to watch here. You tend to land with two hands down and 1 foot, depending on the type of spike that you've just done.
I always wonder, in all these traditional centers, of course, it's a way, it's a part of the tradition, but just learning those roll spikes and spikes as kids, of course, you'd be falling a lot of times, right? Just as in football, you'd get hit by the ball, or you'd get hit by the cricket ball while playing cricket, or the other dangers of those respective sports as well.
Yes, and you learn it as kids, and kids tend to want to do the spectacular things, regardless of which sport they're playing. So the kids, when they're growing up playing any kind of sepak takraw, they're always going to be wanting to fly through the air. Everyone wants to be the spiker, doing that kind of sunback spike there. So it was the right foot over the right shoulder.
Of course, this is the more glorious aspect of the game, but talking about the setups, what I observed when Thailand were playing Singapore, just how good their setups were. And as we see that with Malaysia here as well.
Service there clipped over the net as it went over, and it's allowed to touch the net. There's no let in this sport. And there are times when you can direct the set there. You saw the feeder for Malaysia putting the ball out to the right, enabling the roll spike from one of the two killers. It was the perfect angle for them to get it back into the court, 45 degrees, both downwards and across as well.
There's another, this time it's another angle on the other side, a little bit inside. This is a very different angle. So again, it depends on the feeder, right? To create that sort of angle and work in good coordination with your killers up on the net.
Well, you've got two. In Quadrant, you tend to have one on the left, one on the right, as opposed to when you're playing Regu, the three-man version or the three-player version, you tend to have the Tekong who stays at the back and is defensive, the feeder who is also the setter who will set the ball up, and the setter needs to know exactly where the one striker, the one killer, likes to have the ball. Whereas here, you've got a choice of two. You tend to have two killers in the Quadrant version because you have 4 on the court at any one time, and we've got 6 in the squad, and it looks like we're going to have a couple of changes. And that is indeed the case. They bid farewell to the net judge, and on come a couple of replacements.
Malaysia just sensing the opportunity that they've got a chance to close this game out and really quickly. So maybe just wanting those players to come into the scheme of things.
Yes, and the problem is when you come in cold, then it's very difficult. If you've got to take a first service, then that one we saw there, bouncing before it even got anywhere near the net. It's always tough to come in cold, and you don't get a second service, as we've been saying. So a point given away there, and service is also surrendered. But I'm pretty sure they'll get it back quickly, and they do indeed.
There's a good finish once again by Malaysia. And Malaysia continue to show that they mean business. Once again, set up by the feeder. And look at the finish.
It's good defensive work by Jeremy Voradi. He was tapped the ball over. You don't have to do a spike. You can just tap it over with the sole of your shoe as well. I think obviously he would have liked to have done a spike there, but didn't have the opportunity because the ball wasn't sitting in the right place for him. So he just tapped it over with the sole of his shoe and then got across and all but blocked the spike as it came in. Couldn't quite get there, but it's not necessarily a question of winning matches. It's winning your development when you're a team like France. Just trying to get better with every game you play. Voradi again getting his head there onto the block, but not quite working.
Also, a little bit about the serves. I've seen sometimes, as I saw even in the Thailand game, a few serves can be a little bit slower, maybe just inviting the opposition to come forward. They can be a little tricky to play.
Well, we're not particularly going to see it in a mismatch like this with all the respect that I have for the French, but the French know that they're here to develop and maybe cause the odd upset. They're in a very tough group. There are 15 teams in the men's quadrant event, and this is Group B that we're seeing at the moment. France and Malaysia. You've also got Vietnam and Myanmar in there, so the French are really going to have their work cut out for them. Group A, it was Thailand versus Singapore earlier, and Sri Lanka are very much the third team there, with Singapore an established sepak takraw nation and Thailand the absolute creme de la creme, who've been dominating the sport for decades now, since the King's Cup was first brought in 1985. But to go back to the point of services, we'll see it a little bit more in the Regu event when it's 3-on-3, and you'll get certain Tekong's servers who'll get into a real rhythm and can send down absolute bullets. So you've only got 3 people on the other side of the net to try to save the ball and keep it alive, to keep the service alive. And they'll tend to stand a long way back, almost like when you're facing a fast bowler in cricket. And if the bowler suddenly bowls a slower ball, it can take you by surprise. And it's, or to use, well, over the next 6 days, we'll use a lot of different sporting analogies, because we know a lot of you watch a lot of different sports, not just sepak takraw. So it's almost like tennis, where you get the underarm services, or you get a player who takes a lot off the ball when they're serving just to try to fool the opposition. We'll see plenty of that, particularly in the Regu competition.
Yes, I'm going. I have to go there.
An ace there. That one fired down the side. Was an ace? No, it would have been. We've got a change of serving. It's gone back to the French, so that one would have just missed the line. I'm looking for the line judges to give hand signals, and they don't seem to be at the moment. The save, the set, and the spike. It was good block, good attempted block once again by the French. You can see everyone getting behind Varadi and telling them to put in a great effort there. The problem as well, the ball can come off your body at a strange angle, particularly if you're putting your leg out there as well. You need to make sure that the ball lands in the court once you've done the block. 11-5 to Malaysia. 4 points away from taking this first match. Kept alive brilliantly by the French. But Malaysia not to be denied second time around.
Vietnam versus Japan in match number 5 of the women's quadrant event at the ISTAF Sepak Takraw World Cup 2025 in Quadrant, Bihar. Today is day 1 of the World Cup, and we've got quadrant events for you across the men's and women's categories. Show an exhibition of skill, talent, agility.
Chair umpire just making sure he's got the correct note of the scores.
Istaf, Bihar,
Fireworks setting off. Fireworks have been all from the Malaysians thus far. France 13-7. They've given a decent account of themselves. They've got into this match, and as you can see, they're keeping the points alive. That one, they're only going to be able to just put it back in play for Malaysia to not quite kill it with a spike. Seen Varadi at the net. Really been doing yeoman's work at the net there, trying to keep his team in the match. But as you can see from the scoreboard, 14-7 in the second set. Malaysia with 7 match points. The save, the set from the same player, the spike at the net, it's put away, and Malaysia have their first victory. They have defeated France in this opening Group B quadrant match, 15-6, 15-7. Took around 25 minutes, and as expected, Malaysia with their first 2 points on the board.